this video, we're going to look at the brand new interface for creating rules and actions. It's worth noting that the interface for both of it is exactly the same. It's just the types of node that you can add will be different across the two. First of all, we'll look at how to navigate around the canvas. So it works much like a map in the fact that we can zoom in and zoom out using our trackpad or scroll wheel, and we can click and drag to move around the canvas like so. We can also right click and collapse all nodes or expand all nodes. And if we happen to navigate away from our rule, we can always right click to reset the zoom and get that back to its default position. If we collapse individual nodes within our rule, then we will get this nice node preview, so we can always see the logic that's underneath that particular node. To give ourselves more screen real estate, we can also collapse the left-hand navigation pane, and the right-hand panel is also extendable. You'll notice on this example rule we have a comment. You can add a comment to any individual node by simply right-clicking, add comment, and then you can free type into the box there. You can also click and drag to snap any node away from your node tree, and equally drag it back to reattach it. So now we're going to have a look at how we would create a rule from scratch. And in order to demonstrate that, I'm going to detach this whole section of my rule and then recreate it over here. So we've set up the class on our root node, and that is using the context, which we set up in the context box here. We have selected the class building survey from our context. So first of all, we will add the if then else, and we do that by hovering on this first ghost node. It's asking for a predicate. Whenever you click on that, it will only show you the relevant node types that can be added. In this example, we want if then else. Worth noting as well, on the if then else, you'll see that two of the nodes are in this turquoise color, and the one at the bottom there, the else, is in a white with a dotted outline. That means that that particular node is optional, whereas these two are mandatory. Next, we want to add a check that to our first if. So we can select check that from the list. And then we want to add an attribute value. And on the right hand side, we will select our building survey and the attribute form. And again, this is all coming from our context. We then want to add the relation, which will be equals in this case, and add a constant value, a static value. In this case, that will be building. And we can type that in the box here on the right hand side. On the then, we also want a check that node. We want to add building survey function. So this will be an attribute value again. Select our class and select our attribute. In this case, we want the relation to be regular expression. We'll find that in the list here. And then I will add another constant static value. And in this instance, I will just type in residence. So there we have it. That's how you build a rule from scratch. And just to show again, we can delete any portion of our rule by clicking delete button on the node, and I will just bring it back to how it was at the start and drag that back to connect my rule together. So that there is the basics of creating a rule from scratch. I just want to move over to actions to show one more thing, and that is if we are using something like a sequence, then we can add initially two operations. I might want a built-in operation there and an if then else there, and I can then move the order of those within my sequence using the arrow buttons here. And I can also add a new node to my sequence by clicking the plus button there. So there you have it. That's how you navigate around and create your new rules and actions in OneIntegrate 4.